So, Eric, you said something really profound. It was a couple weeks ago. And you said, I feel like I'm getting kicked in the teeth. And you're
Yes.
moving forward. You feel like you're catching it in the teeth. But then you and I had a chance today to talk a little bit about opportunity revealing itself. Wallace Wattles talks about this in The Science of Getting Rich, where he talks about a guy seeing what it was that he wanted. And then when he got to the point of getting the thing, it failed in a completely fantastic way. And then a short while later, I think he says a few weeks later, that another thing came along that it was so great that he never would have taken the first deal by any account when the second deal got there. Interesting, huh?
So he didn't want to take the first deal because he knew there would be something better.
Yeah, because the second deal, so the first thing failed.
Ah,
He was visualizing, he was seeing what he wanted, and then it came along and he was working toward it, and then it failed. And I think they say that what Wallace Waddle says is that it failed in a really fantastic way. And a few short weeks after that, a short amount of time, he said another thing came along that was so amazing that there's no way that he would have taken the first deal by any account.
ah,
Does that make sense?
completely.
It really does, right? And it leads into today really well because, well, first off, you said you were getting kicked in the teeth, and I get that. And today's been kind of one of those for me too. But the self image thing that matters the most is how do you internalize that? How does that match up with you? Is that something that's like, hey, well, that's pretty far out. Like today happened that way, but it's not who I am. Because we don't, until we can understand this and what self image is, we can stop doing things that say, oh man, I'm just a failure. I can't do this. Or, I like to relate to health and fitness as somebody goes off to the healthy part of things and they go, oh, I'm just a fat ass. I'm just a, you know what? I can't, I'm a loser. I can't do this. And in reality, all they did was, they got really hungry and they had a couple donuts or something, and it was just a moment. But it's that thing of internalizing it and how we take it is where we can gauge where our self image truly, truly is. That's what this lesson's all about. So
Nice. Okay.
that's a win for me today. Is I'm actually my goodness, I got a crown put on my teeth. I went totally crazy on taxes today. So I was checking the boxes on all the things that somebody doesn't really call the day that they want to do. But then the win is that I'm like, you know what? That's kind of it just is what it is. I'm indifferent to it, and I'm just going to keep trucking along because I know where I'm going, and I know that that's not me in my normal life. Anybody else got wins to share? All right. Well, we're growing in that confidence of talking and all that stuff on M3. And when you guys when you think of your front door, you think of your refrigerator, especially those two things are kind of cool because they're doors. And then you can think of, well, what way does my refrigerator open? Is it a side by side or is it a top or bottom? Or what way does my front door swing? And then you can see that you go to a place in your mind and you can see that. If I ask you that question, you actually see people look up off and to the left or to the right, and they look up and they think. I ask you what's the color of the interior of your car? Is there two colors? And then if they're not in their car, they're going to think because we work in images that way, and those images are programmed in the form of memories and feelings, and then we offer that stuff back up to us. And we've talked about this before in lesson 4, the secret genie, is that when it comes to our mind, we don't have any image. We don't have any cells of recognition. So in order to make a change in your mind, you don't have anything to reference the way that we change things in our world. So it becomes a chaotic state. So whatever programming was handed to you up into a certain age, especially when we're younger, we don't have that conscious mind that says, you know what, I accept that or I don't accept that. When you're younger, stuff's just getting dumped in. So when we don't understand how we can change our mind, we don't have any image, it becomes a chaotic state. So that's why people reach a certain level and they don't grow anymore in their life because they don't understand that we're completely programmable. And one of the images, even bigger than an image, because we have two of them you're going to find out today, even bigger than an image is a feeling. That's what it is when the feeling is offering up the pictures, is one of ourselves. What we think of ourselves, what we feel about ourselves, and that's called self image. So we actually have the ability to change that just the same as we can change our front door, our car, our whatever. You can see the difference, decide what it is that you want, and begin to internalize that when you understand your mind and how to program it. This lesson really hits home for me, guys, because I want you to know until I got into this, and it's something that I deal with still. Some of the people closest in my life taught me that, well, one of them taught me that life is hard work and life is really unfair. And no matter how hard you work and what an honest, good person you are, your stuff can be taken from you at any moment. And it's unfair and it's scary, and you have to fight for that stuff. You've got to be fearful and you have to fight for that stuff. Another person close to me taught me that what we do is we're very leery of people. Don't trust people. And as soon as you can find something about somebody that's not right or doesn't fit your idea of the way things should be, you take those people and you lump them into a group, and they're simple groups. So we call them dumb or stupid or just whatever, and we dismiss them. And another person taught me, hey, no matter what in your life, what you do is you just keep the peace. You don't do what you want. You keep the peace. Don't ever make waves. Don't walk outside of the crowd. Don't do something that's different. And I had all these things working in my life and I never knew. They were all these images of myself and what I thought I should be because it was handed to me. It's fearful. I was judging of people. Didn't even have to be outright. I was trying to keep the peace. I had all of these things and I never knew that I could build the image of what I wanted and what those images were doing for me in my life. How they were making me actually take people in and think about situations and send vibration out. Those things didn't serve me. When I brought my training business in and I went from making a small salary to blowing up in the training business, I had no idea what self-image was. And my self-image in that instance is that you don't make money easily. If you make a lot of money, you have to work hard. And you don't do it by doing things that you like. And yet I was doing something that I liked and I wasn't working hard because I loved it. And something inside of me told me, this is wrong. Something is wrong. So after I had done my visualization and I created what I wanted, I had no idea that this image began working and just continued working until I gradually tore that image down and built it to what I thought fit me, which was this doesn't work. This doesn't work this way. This is supposed to be bad. It's not supposed to be good. And I would find those reasons. Then I would have a little bit more challenge with clients. And then things got worked really hard. I attracted clients that were really difficult to deal with, attracted people that were on and off my schedule. I attracted longer and longer hours. Some people wanted to start training right at 4 in the morning and they would be banging on the door, wanting it to be opened up at 4 in the morning. Other people want to train at 7 o'clock at night. So then my work became hard. And the point of that, and I tell you that stuff, guys, is none of that is true. Any image that you can see for yourself, anything that you can hold in a feeling of what you say you want it to be, you can create as true for you. You are an infinite being. You came from infinite. So that does not leave anything off the table. And the fact that you can see it and feel it means that it already exists. It doesn't exist in your world in the physical form, and it doesn't need to exist there first. Everything always begins as thought. It begins as a feeling. And if it comes as a feeling, it can exist in your world. And we know we've seen this. Look at the things that Elon Musk has done. Look at us flying when they said that that was absolutely impossible. And it was 60 years later, if even, it wasn't even 60 years later that we were on the moon. Your cell phone, this computer I'm talking to, communicating with all of you. Know that anything that you hold in your heart, anything that you hold in your feelings, you can create for yourself. If you want to create a unique business like nobody's ever seen before, and you see that and you feel that, that can manifest in your world. And that's the difference between what I'm telling you that I went through and what I had programmed into me and the truth about what we're actually capable of. People don't know this, so they don't go out and pursue the things that they want in this life. And that's the real key behind all of this stuff. That really is that whatever you see, whatever you feel, you have the ability to create it as long as you can hold the vibration. I'm going to show you guys a lot of quotes right now because of this. It's such a powerful thing. I'm going to share screen. I'm going to start this and get it underway. There it is. Wow, just like that. The self-image is at the center of everything that you are. And everything that's going to be coming into your life, you're going to be gauging it based on what you think you're worthy of. If somebody comes up and says, hey, and you've probably seen this when you've grown into your business and they say, hey, well, I'm like 85% sure I want to pay you for your services. And if you don't see yourself as actually being somebody that can succeed at what it is that you're doing at that point, you'll actually see yourself start to do things to sabotage that. You'll start to ask the wrong questions or say the wrong thing, reveal the wrong thing. And you'll feel it if you're aware of it, of how uncomfortable that is. That's what that image is doing for you. That's what that programming is doing for you. And in order for you to succeed the way that you want to succeed, you have to build that feeling and understand that that's who you are. You're the person that goes out and sells that stuff all day long. And there has to be a good reason for why you do that. You believe in what it is that you do. You believe in how it changes people's lives. And that's just an example. You can say the same example, like I said, health and fitness. If you really push and hold with your willpower to achieve what it is that you want and you get some results, if you've got that internal side of you says, this is not who I am, you're going to be fighting against that the whole time. And that internal image is going to win. It's finally going to figure out how to get you back to what you really feel you are. So it has to be changed first. Once the image is changed, then you start matching up with all the things in your world that match up with that. And then it becomes the natural state for you. You're not struggling to be that anymore. It becomes part of who you are. Within you now is the power to do things you never dreamed possible. This power becomes available to you just as soon as you change your beliefs. Now, when you guys hear that word beliefs, understand that that's programming at the subconscious and where you're running from 96 to 98% of your day. We don't like to do things from consciousness. That's too much work to just focus, like forming why words, learning to do that was too much work. So we're made in a way that that programming gets in and it becomes automatic. But that programming isn't in words. So when you see the word beliefs from now on, you guys, what I want you to think about is that's a feeling that I have programmed into myself. And I can actually, based on a feeling, the programming that I have inside of myself, I can point at anything in my world and understand what my belief is about that. If I point at a Lamborghini, I'm going to have a feeling about that and how it pertains to me. And that tells you right where you're at with that stuff. If I see somebody with a super fit body, I'm going to have a feeling about that. If I see a stack of cash, I'm going to have a feeling about those things. And that's as soon as you understand that in order to attain what you want, Dr. Maxwell Maltz says that you've got to learn to change your beliefs. He is the basis for this lesson, by the way. He was a plastic surgeon who discovered self image through plastic surgery. And it's interesting. I'll tell you a little bit more about it. Your most important sell in life is to sell yourself to yourself. That's why we always go down to the ridiculously simple here. You don't have to do anything in this world. You don't have to perform in any specific manner at any specific time to be amazing because you're the only version of you that there ever will be. And that's already enough. So when we start to learn and love ourselves from that point of view, is when we can really, really start to appreciate ourselves. We don't start taking in that. Like I said, today was kind of a crazy day for me, from putting a crown on my teeth to doing my taxes and who knows, whatever else. But I don't take that day in from that point of view as to say, well, gosh, I just can't seem to get my stuff together. No, I take that in from that point of view is that's it's just an oddball day. Whatever it is, just going to blow it off because most of my days are in harmony with being the person that I want to be. Maltz said, functionally, a man is somewhat like a bicycle. This is interesting because his book is called Cybernetics. A bicycle maintains its poise and equilibrium. Let's just call it balance. Only so long as it's moving forward towards something. When you stop moving your bicycle forward, what happens? You fall over. We are machines. We're goal-seeking organisms. And if we don't have a goal to shoot for, we literally fall over like a bicycle that's not moving forward. That's exactly how we work. Remember, we talked about failing forward, failing. This is one I just heard. It's really, and it was coming from the tech world. It was called failing fast. Move toward what it is that you're supposed to do right away and find the failure in it so you can learn from it. When you're on your bicycle, you're falling to one side and you're correcting for that, and then you correct back and forth. And it's through all those little minute corrections that you actually stay upright and you keep moving forward. When you think about the autopilot on a jet, when a jet is aimed for whatever it is it's going to, it's going from here. Let's go to Hawaii because we just set our trip for Hawaii. So that plane is actually off course more than 90% of the way. But the whole time it's correcting and it's correcting and it's correcting. And you think about that destination and that line that plane's traveling on, that's just exactly what self-image is. Self-image is like a thermostat in the house, not the thermometer. The thermometers are senses. That's just what's telling us what's happened in the past and what's going on right now. But the thermostat is the thing that says, hey, wait a minute, something's off here. If you're a $50,000 a year guy and over the last 2 months you've only made enough to make $20,000 for the year, your self-image is that guy that's going to kick you up in the next couple months, and vice versa. If you make enough in 1 month, it's going to take you to $100,000 that year. Well, if your self-image doesn't believe that that's possible for you, it's going to steer you back this way and back that way. And I told you I was going to tell you about Maltz. Well, first I want to tell you is I can't recommend this book enough. Cybernetics. It's all about self-image. Maltz was a plastic surgery, and what he discovered is when he made an outside change on people, their internal world, well, what he really noticed was it would do one of two things. It would either change dramatically, they felt and acted differently, and they would go out in their world in a confident way, and they would produce different results. And that's what a lot of people, when they're seeking cosmetic surgery, seek. And back then, this book was written in 1960. He was doing a lot of the surgery that he was doing based on injuries and scars and deformities. So what he noticed was people's whole life would change when the external image was changed. And then the flip side of that is that in some people that he had made a change, like suppose they had a scar on their face, if that scar had become so ingrained in who they were, they literally couldn't see the difference. Even though the outside had changed, they had become their internal image so much that they actually couldn't see the difference. So nothing would change for them. And that led him to come to the conclusion that we actually have two images. One is the image of what we feel inside, and the other is the image of what we project to the world. And the more those images, the more your internal image is in align with what you truly want in your conscious mind, and that wanting image is in align with your external image, the happier we are in our lives. That's the key. Is that somebody sneaking in through my office window? Did you see that? So Cybernetics, I'm going to put it on a link in the website, a link to the hardcover book, and I'll give you a link also to the audio book. And I would say listen to that book again and again and again. We have the ability to change our image, and he tells you in that book step by step how to change your image, and also just how we're driven as goal-driven machines, and the way that we're supposed to set our goals, just like we talk about in my coaching, thinking into results. So back to the stick man. Remember this, that what we want, it's in our conscious mind. What we want is not what shows up in our life. What we believe is what shows up in our life, and our belief is at the subconscious. Belief is programming that was accepted through family, through genetics, through whatever influential things in your life. And we don't understand how it's programmed in, so we let it dictate our life and how our life shows up. And it's dictating our life, like I said, 96 to 98% of your day. But belief, and it makes such sense because you're acting from the subconscious, from belief 96 to 98% of your day. Of course, that's going to be in control of your results. But what is belief? Belief is just thoughts, feelings held towards something. At the subconscious level, they're automatic. Belief is just habit. I've said this before, habit is just belief expressed in behavioral pattern. And we're operating from habit that 96 to 98% of our day. We're not operating from our conscious mind. Our conscious mind goes, that's really cool. That's a lot of money. I'd like to have that. And then it just goes away, and the belief goes, you can't do that. That's not possible for you. Nobody in our family's ever done that before. And you can say that with anything. People come from certain cultures and they go, you know what? Women aren't supposed to go to school. That's their belief. And they've heard that so much. It's ingrained into them. Women aren't supposed to be entrepreneurs. They're not supposed to succeed. They're not supposed to be the money makers. Women are supposed to what? They're supposed to cook and clean, and I don't know. But it's just a feeling that's been programmed. That's not true. The lady that does my taxes, by the way, is one of the most powerful ladies that I've ever met. And she does not have an external image that says I'm like a model. She's a very just normal person, and she accepts herself as so. But I watched her walk out on a stage in front of over 10,000 people and just be herself. She's from North Carolina, South Carolina, excuse me. She's got that little accent, and she didn't care at all. She was so powerful. I knew, like, that's the lady. That's the lady that I want to work on my stuff and do my stuff. I knew it in an instant. But that all came from a belief that she had inside of her. It had nothing to do with any of the stuff that I just explained about other beliefs held about women. And I'm just using women as an example. You could take any aspect of your life. Fitness, again, some people go, well, our family, we're just big boned. Well, you've got our genetics. Actually, my wife says this. She always goes, well, one side of my family has this genetics and the other side of the family has this genetics. And my wife stays lean and trim all the time because she believes she has the side of the genetics that are actually the thin, lean, and trim side. That works really good, you know? But if the belief were held on the other side, honey, what would that be like? It's just a feeling. I see Austin's waiting in the room. He must have got kicked off. So what we believe is what shows up in our world, in both in our environment and in ourselves. Maltz, through his work as a plastic surgeon, discovered that the image we project to the world, how we dress. We have two images, and that's that external image, and that's everything that we're doing out there in the world. That's the image we project, how we dress, how we walk, how we talk, how we meet and greet others. And then there's that internal image. And that's the way we really, really feel about ourselves, the way we perceive ourselves. And ultimately, what you feel internally about yourself is going to show up on the outside. Our internal image steers us to the results we get in life. We can never outperform that internal image. We can hold our willpower for a short while doing something different. But it's only for a little while that we can do that. If we're not coupling that with the belief that we are that, as I said, with my business, when I exploded that business out, I had no idea I was supposed to be doing that. Didn't know about this stuff. That business easily could have rolled over to a business of trainers like me and an expanded business and an application and the next thing and the next thing. But if we don't change that internal image, we can never outperform it. We're going to lose the battle. Yes, by willpower we may achieve temporary changes, but they won't remain so long as the image we hold stays the same. Our image is like a thermostat. It's always correcting. If you open the front door of your house and you have your heater set on 70 and the temperature drops to 68, the thermometer drops to 68, your thermostat will read that and it will kick the fire and the fan on. That's the same thing. But we have the ability to go to that thermostat and actually change it. We can set it for whatever it is that we want. That image is so strong that we can actually reproduce our exact same results. And it's been proven that we can take somebody and pull them completely out of their environment and set them all the way on the other side of the world and say, okay, here you go. And in a short amount of time, they'll produce the same friends, the same income, the same job, and the same problems. That's how strong that image is. An extreme case that I use or I talk about here is in cases where there's abusive relationships and one of the people is actually removed from the relationship, either maybe something bad happened or maybe they had to go away. That other person can reproduce somebody exactly like that person and they don't even know why. You've heard people in relationships say this before. Why does the same person keep showing up again and again and again in my life? And it's due to that internal image and what a person feels that they're worthy of in the form of a relationship. The person is not going to show up. That's the big news flash. The person that you really want to have a relationship, remember, want being conscious, is not going to show up in your life and then all of a sudden you believe that you're worthy of that. It's always going to be that you define out what it is that you're worthy of in the form of a mate, a person that you want to be with, and then you will start to connect with that by what you've programmed inside of yourself and by what it is that you're sending out there into the world, that vibration as we refer to it. So it's always about awareness. That's the biggest thing that you're ever going to take away from M3. We're always asking we're always asking ourselves, what am I feeling? Does it feel good? If it doesn't feel good, what am I thinking about? Why am I thinking about that? Is that true? No, not when it comes to belief. Our beliefs are just based on our evaluation of something, and we can always reevaluate that. Seen plenty of people with zero experience go out and crush it in an industry that they have no idea about that industry. So it's not true when somebody says, oh, our family, we just don't do that. Oh, you know what? You didn't get good grades in school. That's not possible for you. Reevaluate it. Insert the awareness and look at it again and say, what do you want? We only have two sources of reference to go to again and again, science and theology, and both of them say, you as a human, you unique you, are capable of anything. So what is it that you want? You want to build the business of your dreams? You want to go out there and help people beyond your wildest imagination? That's possible for you, but you've got to believe that inside of you first. You guys resonate with some of this stuff? You guys run across some of the images inside? You see how you feel and think about certain things,
Oh yeah.
right? How that thermostat's been controlling your life.
Yeah, definitely.
Isn't it powerful to know that you can actually create whatever you want, though?
Mm-hmm.
You don't
I
have
actually
to,
just had a conversation about this. It's crazy this weekend.
you
So
don't have to accept anything that doesn't match up with that, too. You absolutely don't. If somebody comes along and says something and they've got, oh, I'm going to tell you why that this can't be. It's up to you if you accept that. Because you can just say, well, and man, an old guy at the club one time, he actually misunderstood what I said because I said something nice, but he thought I said something that was not nice. Like, you know how you do that and maybe there's one word missing? It was probably missing in the way he heard it. And he looked at me and he goes, oh, that's just your opinion. And he didn't care about it beyond that. I thought, man, that was so powerful. You don't have to get emotionally involved with something. We have that awareness insertion and say, well, wait, is this in line with what I want? Like you, Savannah, I'm an amazing dance instructor and I travel the world and I train people and I make tons of money for it. You know, however you're feeling about that, and anybody that wants to come up and tell you anything different from that, you don't have to accept that. Absolutely. Confidence. What is confidence?
confidence is not, it's walking into a room with your head held high with what you believe and not what others believe.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. You guys ever break that down? I know if you've been through M3, uh, you know, through our 12 lessons before, you've probably heard me say it. I don't know if you've wrote it down. Anybody else? Jen, you want to chime in on what confidence is? Are you confident right now to answer that question?
Not really, but I'll do my best.
Let it rip.
I agree with Savannah. I believe it's definitely more of a belief. Like if you know, believe that you're confident in something. Like for me, I'm confident in putting together a workout and getting my workout done. So I have that belief in myself that I can do it and finish it. And so I have the confidence for that.
Yeah.
Although I don't have the confidence for other things, like maybe if I'm trying something new or I want to accomplish something new, I may not have the confidence, but to understand it's, you know, it's a learning process and it will come in time and with belief.
Mm-hmm. Eric Mendonça said this last time. He talked about that. I remember him saying something along the lines that, hey, that's interesting. You know, and I always thought it was, you know, knowing your subject really well. And that is a form of confidence. You know, I can't disagree with that. But when we get down to confidence at its very base, so if you know something really, really well, and then you can be confident in that space, and then I take you out of that space and I say, okay, come over to this totally new thing that you don't know anything about. Well, real confidence all the way down at its base level is going to be belief that you can do that too, and you can create your solutions in that too. So that confidence is at a base level of the belief in yourself. And that's what confidence is. There's two parts to it. It's belief and it's self. So the thoughts that we hold with feeling toward a thing, that's belief. And remember, it's automatic. That's programmed into us. So at the base, we might have a belief and have confidence because we've gone through something and we've learned that subject matter very well. But at the base, the confidence is in ourself. I can step into a new field and I say, I can do that. I can learn that. I can create success in that field too. What we say in coaching is that security, as we call it, and that's what confidence, real confidence, produces. Security is always an inside job. There's nothing outside of us that can give us that security if we don't hold it inside first. Everything outside of us can be removed, it can be taken away. Somebody learns how to create $1 million in 30 days, say. That's a process that they've learned. Well, they have confidence in themselves to do that. You can take the $1 million away from them. It doesn't matter then because they've built them inside. Now their security is I understand this and I know that I can do that. And that's the vibration that they send out. And that's what they receive. They're programmed to receive it. But our self is part of that. And that's the image, the feeling that we feel that we have programmed into us about us. Confidence is belief in self. That's all at the very base. If I took everything away from you and I said you had to start over in a brand new field, how do you feel about it? What can you do? It's one of the greatest things that I'm so thankful for when I got out of farming and I said I'm going to go live another life is that it was a very down time. It was a very challenging time. But it taught me that the only thing that I have to rely on is that belief. That's all that you have. You can have certain amounts of money, it's going to get you by for a certain while, but if you have belief in the money to save you, it's not going to save you. If you have belief in something outside of you, anything outside of you, it's never going to be the thing. It's always going to come from your belief that I can do this. I can do this. I know how to produce this inside of me so that it'll show up in my world. I'm confident in myself, and that's who I am. I can step into any situation and give it my best. So take a look at your life and ask yourself, what areas in your life would you like more confidence? If you're selling something, sometimes that's a powerful thing. I want more confidence when I ask for the money. When I go for the money, I love asking for the money. I love it. Why do you love it? Because that's the moment that the person's coming in to get the thing that they actually want. Not because of me, because, I'm going to get rich off of this thing. Remember, we said that stuff is secondary. Getting paid for something that you love, it's just a side effect. I love being able to teach somebody something new because that's what I do. I show them a new and great way to live their life. So the moment that I ask for the money and that money comes in, I know that that's what's happening. Can't wait to get started. Somebody says I'm afraid of asking for the money. I'm totally afraid of asking for that. At that moment, it's going to show up. That's going to be projected out there into the world. And that person that you're talking to is going to feel that. And they're not going to know what they're feeling. They're going to be like, I don't know, just something just feels off. It doesn't feel right. I need more time, which means I need to run away because I don't know what that vibration was. Does that make sense? What areas in your life would you like to have more confidence? How can you create that confidence? See and feel yourself successfully doing what it is you want to do and do the thing to the best of your ability. Repeated acts of courage as you step into your new self. Confidence is created by continuing to hold that vibration as best you can, step out there and take action, and then get your feedback. How do we look at our feedback in terms of M3? We look at it indifferently. We don't say, oh man, just how I started this call right now. I'm no good at this stuff. I'm no good at it at all. We say, what do I like? What do I want? What did I do good at? And what can I improve? You've already made the decision. I'm going there. I'm going to make it to the top no matter what. So now I just need to course correct, keep course correcting as I go. I'm not retreating. I'm never going back. I've made the decision to go get what it is that I want. Take those acts of courage, get your feedback, look at it, improve yourself. Every little improvement that you make, you just bumped yourself closer to your goal. You bumped yourself closer to goal. Remember, as we said, it's not the thing and getting the thing at the end, it's growing into the person that can do that. And that growth for you represents that every time. So just step out there and get that. I mentioned the first time as I was a coach, I went to go speak and I had no idea what I said. Oh my gosh. I was so nervous. It was about to fall apart. And I look back on that and we think that that would be the end all be all. Like it's done. Your world is shut down. But what I found out later is nobody remembered. Nobody cares. Not one single person has come to me and said, "Oh man, I saw that first speech you gave and you're what? I don't even know. I can't even fill in the words." All that stuff is just monsters in the closet, that aren't really real. When you go out there and you face them, you'll find that it's no big deal. I did 120 lives in a row every day. I did a live on Facebook. And when I first heard that, I used to talk at it from the point of view of like, man, I heard about the 30-day live challenge. Go live for 30 days. It sounded crazy. But when I made the commitment to do a live every day for 120 days, none of the bad stuff that you could even come up with or imagine, not one single thing happened. And I made really great relationships with people. And then I realized, like, it's so crazy because the phone is just a phone. I'm not afraid of my phone. I'll text somebody, I'll call somebody. But if you hold up the Facebook Live and you go, hey, let's go, I'm going to hit the button, they freak out because of a belief that's in there. And then all of a sudden I realized, like, that's no big deal. Nobody cares. People don't care about us as much as we think that they do because they're just thinking about themselves. So take action. Here we go. Become aware of your two images by answering the following questions. Your external world is a reflection of your self-image. What does your external world say about your self-image? Notice your body, your car, your house, your work. What do you see? Look at it indifferently. No judging. What do you want to improve? What messages do you hold about yourself that create this outer world? An example is, I'm too busy, I don't have time. When you see that type of stuff, you see people's stuff stacked up everywhere. And they're running around from thing to thing, and they do this little thing about that far, and then they do this thing about that far, and they maybe get one or two things actually done throughout the day, and they have about 100 things that aren't done. And you just see it. And it's just a reflection. I don't have time. I don't have time. I don't have time for this. The whole world shows that. You got to change that. I've got all the time that I need. I do everything that I need right when I need to do it. What do you really like about yourself and how is it reflected in your world? We've all got unique characteristics. And you know that. I love talking and connecting with people and finding out about what it is that they really want to do and what their dreams are. I just love that. And I love it when a person sees what they're actually capable of. I always refer to it as a light bulb going off. When they get it, they're like, oh my gosh, this is the first time in my life that I've heard and understood this about myself. And I love that moment. And I love that about just being, that's me. And I don't want to change that at all. I want that to grow. I just love connecting with people that way. I love seeing people succeed, especially when they didn't think it was possible. That was my greatest moments in fitness. People start to walk different, talk different, feel different. Whole life has changed, and I love being a part of that experience. That's why I do what I do. How can you bring more of those good qualities to the surface and live them more of the time? I got good English. How can you bring more of these good qualities to the surface and live them more of the time? Why would you want to do that? People always think they got to go develop their weaknesses. You don't. There's people out there in the world that are strong at what you're weak at. You can attract them to you, and you don't need to do the thing you don't want to do. And by the way, I'm never doing my taxes again. I just decided right now. Because when you're in harmony with what it is that you want to do, what your nature is, I mean, what a heavenly way to live. You're just doing it naturally. If you're out there in the world and you're making great money, you're making a great living, doing something that you love to do, can you really call that work? How much better could life get than that right there? Identify what it is that you do and you do so well and that you want to do. Identify one action step you can take this week to live from the qualities you admire about yourself and begin to do it immediately. Now, we're going to take a step outside of that and we're going to think of somebody that you admire and respect. Someone with a positive self-image. Write out a description in the present tense of the qualities they have that you admire. And identify one action step you can take this week to integrate a quality of that person into your life and begin to do it. My mentor steps on stage and he says he doesn't care how many people he talks to. I mean, I think he could be plugged into the world. I honestly believe that about him. But he says that when he's in that state and he's up there sharing what it is that he shares, he's just as comfortable as he is sitting on the couch at home petting his dog. And I think that's such a cool thing. And that's a space that I look to grow into more and more and more. By the way, as we started this phone call, or this Zoom call, one of the things that was part of my self-image is that we don't stand up and speak. My mom didn't do it. My dad didn't do it. And matter of fact, he couldn't stand it. And still today, that's just, and then that's fine. That's their image, but that was handed down to me. And so that's why when I see that about my mentor, when I watch Bob Proctor do what he does, that's the quality that I really love to emulate. You want to be just as comfortable, just as I am, like when I'm hanging out with my family, petting my dog, sharing this wonderful information with the world. Excuse me. Further action, read the confidence article at M3 Coaching. And I'll put that up. I'll give that to you guys when I give you the recording. Think and Grow Rich. There's a confidence formula in there. Depending on the book that you get, it's on a particular page, but it's toward the front of the book. It's a self-confidence formula, and it's actually something that you read out to yourself. And I've actually worked with a lot of people that have got a lot of success in this area as they've held a mirror and they've read that confidence formula to themselves every day. It's not very long, and you just read it top to bottom. It's a matter of fact, it's the link that you can memorize it in a short amount of time. It's a self-confidence formula created by Napoleon Hill, the author of Think and Grow Rich. And I also have that on my website. So I'll throw a link when I throw the recording back at you guys too for that. That is it. Understand that the image that you have of you is going to be reflected in the world. The feeling that you carry about you is going to be reflected in the world. It's going to show up in your results. And you have the ability to change that image just the same as you can change the image you hold for your front door or your car or anything else in the world. It's just a belief, and it's held towards yourself. Next week, we're going to talk about the terror barrier. We just talked about acts of courage. Once you start to change your feeling about yourself, you're going to receive those inspired messages and that intuition that's going to say, go out and do this. There's a space there. It's empty. You've not filled it in your life with experience. You don't have programming in there that says, this is who I am in this moment. So it must be created. Unless you understand that, we create fear, and we fill that void with fear. These are the things that are going to go wrong. So we either retreat or we take action, and it just falls apart dramatically. But we don't understand that we can feel that empty space with the opposite of fear, which is faith. We can see what it is that we want, and then we can step out into that space in an amazing way and receive all that stuff. It's something that you can use to propel you forward in the speaking of things, even in doing these facilitations. One of the great things about that, when you've spent time with yourself and you say, well, this is who I am and this is what I do and this is what I really want, and you've internalized that and you've felt that, really neat things show up right at the moment that you do it. So it's like riding this wonderful trip of life. All these great things get to show up, and you can use this understanding, what we call terror barrier, breaking through it to propel you forward and get really excited about the thing that you're fearful about, or something that you don't know how to do, and get excited about moving forward, because breaking through that time and time again is what's going to produce the results that grow you into that person that you want to be to achieve your goal. Questions and takeaways, you guys, M3. Guys and gals. Are you unmuting, Coach 2?
No. I don't have the ability. So whoever wants to speak.
Let me do that. Are you guys muted or
No.
unmuted? You guys actually took care of it all yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Most people know how to work Zoom.
I don't. What do you guys think about self-image? What do you think about the image when you think about what you think about you?
Boy, am I mean to myself.
Right? Is that what God thinks about me?
No.
No, right? Why do I?
Right? Why am I my own worst enemy? I don't know.
Because it was programming that was handed to you. You're just like me, brother. Very few people are actually handed that confident feeling about themselves when they're young, to go out and do what it is that they want to do in this world. Most of us are handed the programming that says, you want to do something outside of the norm? No way, man. We don't do that. And here's the top 10 reasons. I can back them all up with feeling.
Hey, Matt, I wanted to add that understanding your subconscious mind it's so important. It's so powerful. You're seeing it more and more now in all the different sales books. Like I'm listening to the Way of the Wolf by Jordan Belfort. The Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah.
He has a sales book on how to it's called the straight line sales system, and how to deliver your presentations with more confidence. But he does spend a great deal of time talking about your conscious and your subconscious mind.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys, whoever's listening on, don't think that this stuff's just kind of like hooey, little wacky, maybe a little like space age or new age. No, this stuff is it's legit. It's everywhere. And then of course, as you hit on, Matt, it affects literally every facet of your life, not just whether you want to start a business or not. Your self-image and your subconscious mind are playing a role in everything.
Exactly. I 100% agree. And when you're selling something, and there's two groups of people. There's either people that are aware that they're selling something, or people that aren't, because we're all selling something. Whether I'm just trying to sell my wife on the idea of going to Hawaii, which wasn't hard, but something else, you know what I mean? We're all selling something. It's just sales is just a transference of energy. It's vibration.
Yeah, energy.
And our feeling, as we had said, comes from subconscious. So when you sell somebody something, you're talking to them what we call heart to heart. You're plugging into them heart to heart. And if you're not believing it, your vibration on your end, it just won't work. The connection's not there. It doesn't happen. But we've all experienced this. When you plug into somebody, if you really feel what it is, it's not something that you've memorized or done. It's actually a feeling. And you see the person, and they just lean in. It's like they just completely it's conscious mind just, it turns off, and they're listening with their heart, and they're listening with their emotions at that point. And that's what sales really is. It's not about your product so much as it isn't. Your product is just vehicle for change for that person. It's about the change that the person wants to make in their life, and understanding what that really is. Them being able to understand that what you're sharing is the key for them getting what it is that they want. That's the key. Eric, in your case, so many people want that in their life. They want that financial freedom. What do we say? What's financial freedom? Does anybody else besides Eric understand what financial freedom is? Go for it.
Financial freedom is basically having the money to do what you want to do when you want to do it, and not being burdened by the possibility of it happening by money. I don't know.
I think that's a good one. I think the way I like to put it is, it means never having to look at a price tag again. You only get something based on one thing. Do you want it? It's powerful, right? And we all kind of want that. It's really powerful. And when you're sharing whatever, when Eric shares financial stuff the way that he shares it, it's not about his product. It's about being able to show somebody that this is possible for you. You don't have to be a millionaire to be a millionaire. That sounds almost crazy. You can start right where you're at, and there's things that we've never been taught before in our life that we can just make some shifts in our financial life, and we can live that life too. You don't have to be Harvard educated to be financially free. And that's an awesome lifestyle right there. I like your description, Savannah. Exactly right. You're financially free when you got your car. Right? And it's funny thing is look what I keep thinking back to this. Look what showed up for you. Like you said, you got dance people.
Yeah.
People coming in. Somebody actually messaged me too and said, "Hey, I didn't know that that's what she did. She was a dance instructor. And can I have her contact? I'd like to." It's an attractive magnet coming to you.
Yeah, I'm a great instructor.
You're an amazing instructor. By the way, you're not afraid to hit the live button, and I like that.
That's what I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Every day, right?
I had an experience. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What was your instructor?
And I'm also, I don't know, I'm growing into, the person that I want to be, and I'm having beliefs, of what I deserve and stuff. And I had a conversation with someone that wanted a relationship again, and I said, well, I'm not ready for a relationship because I'm not the person that I want to be yet, if that makes sense. So I want to continue to grow on my own, and we'll see kind of what happens, and the reaction was, well, dang, that kind of sucks, but it feels good to know, the truth, and I could see that you're working on yourself and blah, 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 so felt good, and then we're talking about self-image today. So it's crazy how the world works,
Yeah. I think that's a big one too, because some people think they need somebody to complete them. And real confidence is that you don't need somebody to complete you. You want somebody to complement you. You want somebody to push you and to grow with. But that definitely it shows confidence on your level to understand, hey, I'm at this place right now and I'm perfectly fine with that. Belief and self-image, I want you guys to be aware about this, that it comes down to everything that you're doing. And the more you can insert that awareness about how you're feeling about something, you're going to understand, well, that's part of my self-image. I was talking to Jen about this week is that it's a very simple one for people to say is they go, I'm terrible with names. That's what you feel about yourself. So the moment somebody goes, hi, how you doing? My name is fill in the blank, your brain goes, kicks it out. I ain't going to remember that because that's my belief about myself. But when I started walking around, and Jen got a kick out of this, and I started walking around and telling myself, I always remember people's names. Then I started coming up with reasons for why I remember people's names. And the moment somebody says their name, the first thing I think is I remember that. And I remember that because of this. I associate it with something. I might associate it with a characteristic of them, maybe the way they speak or the way that they move or how they might look. Not derogatory either. It's always complimentary, like, oh, she reminds me of Meg Ryan. That's maybe her name's Meg or something. But whatever, and it sticks because that's actually how our memories work. Our memories, if you've ever been told a story before, you only got told the story once, but it was an amazing story. And then you turn around and you tell that story again to somebody else and you just tell it perfectly, but you only heard it once. We actually have perfect memories, and that's the way that they work. They work by association. And if you can have like a ridiculous association, that's a great one. If you can have one that's it's powerful emotionally, that's the way that our memories work. And you can do that with a name. So anytime somebody says their name the first time, you've got it. What I told Jim is that it works so darn good is that I would ask the person, hey, is your name this? And they would go, yeah. And I kept getting a yeah to that. And I was like, why am I asking them that? Because I'm getting it right every time. I'm actually doubting that this works really well. I used to walk around and say that though. I'm not good with names. It takes me forever to learn somebody's name. It was just a belief about myself. Hey, y'all. Thank you so much. This is Mind Move Manifest. Tonight was self-image. Next week is terror barrier. If you like what you see here, share it with a friend. If you know somebody that could benefit from this, just share it. You can send them, you can send me their contact. I will send them the link so they can come into, a couple free M3s and decide that it's something for them. And have yourself a great rest of your week. Go out there and create the image of yourself that you want and then live it. I will see you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.